What's up, gamers? Over the weekend, Thomas has been keeping us all up to date and delivering unto us massive amounts of information that I personally am finding both exciting and refreshing. And it's not just that his love for Legend of Zelda rings true through Ori and No Rest for the Wicked. It's that he is really thinking about this game from a 10-year perspective. And before that gets you worried, I think if nothing else, what we've already seen from the developers today is something that actually is exciting. How do you release a game that is worth investing into over time? And honestly, I think the folks at Moon Studios are knocking it out of the park. But like I said, this is going to be a big video. We got a lot to cover. Just like with Hotfix 6 that came out at the tail end of last week, we're not going to go through the full patch notes in this video, because by the time this video is edited, it's highly possible that patch 7 is going to be out into the wild, or at least if not close. But just note that I'll be making a video for you guys about that as well. But let's jump and dive in this case. Thomas writes, if Wicked blows up, it's going to be super fun to have a WickedCon where we could meet up with Wicked fans and have live Wicked insights to share with exclusive content. I honestly would love that. And personally, as we've seen conventions kind of whittle down across the industry, BlizzCon, for example, is not going on this year. I would love to see something like that come into being, but obviously that will be just a function of time. So time will tell. Now, Thomas also brings up a request for us, the gamers, to essentially, if you guys are playing Wicked and enjoying it, please go give a positive Steam review. He's got a challenge. He's challenged himself to get No Rest for the Wicked to a 90% positive reviews over on Steam, and the last update we got from him was at 74. Now, I've already answered Thomas's call to action, and so I've done my part, and if you guys feel like taking part in that, awesome. I just wanted to make you well aware, but there's still so much that we got to cover. I do want to say thank you guys so much for those of you who have taken a chance on the channel. I always want to earn your sub. I want to try to give you guys the best content that I can, but welcome into all the new subs who've let me know. So you guys are the best. And also thank you guys so much for the support on the videos, reaching over 600 and even 751 likes just this weekend alone. So you guys are hopefully enjoying the content. I'm enjoying making it. We're going to keep on rocking and rolling. And as in that delivery, let's jump into the real meat and potatoes of why you clicked on this video. Thomas writes, just like all of you, I've been playing Wicked quite a bit recently. Now, here are some bigger things that he wants to change ASAP. First and foremost, inventory management. This is going to be some nice fixes. Still, we are still going to make all the chests have more slots by default and allow vendors to have access to your stashes. That part about vendors is incredible. I do hope that also applies to crafting, etc., because I'd love to be able to just throw everything into the stashes and then not have to worry about, like, hey, where did I put what, but that's just me. You guys can let me know how you feel about that. Number two, a big part of your inventory management is annoying because housing comes in too late. We've been debating this internally all the time, and initially housing was available from the get-go. So now we see that the full thing at play, and this is how it should actually be. What this means, though, is that we're going to change the prices of housing to make housing available as soon as you enter in Sacrament. So for those of you who are struggling with inventory, I get it, and this is going to be a huge win for the game. Number three, right now, vendors also sell refined resources directly, and it doesn't even cost all that much, which means that a lot of players don't even interact with a bunch of the systems that they have in place. I'd like players to have to think about their refineries, etc., so we're not going to have vendors directly sell refined resources anymore. I know some people will immediately complain about that, but I think this is the way the system will actually work better. And honestly, when the fact is that it's so cheap that they sell it, there hasn't been a major incentive to craft and gather. So that has felt a little wonky. It's going to be interesting to see how that's received by the community. You guys can let me know how you feel about number three as well. And number four, as we predicted, a lot of people would prefer not having a bit of melee to first then fire off ranged shots. So as a test, that we'll soon have the Ranger's arrow ability cost a bunch of stamina, I don't know, instead of focus, so that true archer classes will become available. If that works out and people like it, we will do similar things for the mage as well. So that's going to be great to see. So those are some four big changes overall and then let's continue on, because this is where I think things get really interesting. Thomas says, judging from the questions that I keep getting, it looks like some people think that we're going to release 1.0 and then we're done. Folks, we're nowhere near done with No Rest for the Wicked. There is also so much that we have already built and none of you even know about it, and we are really going to deliver in this in a masterful way. This early access phase is just a part of the beginning for us, and we're already got laid out plans for what happens after 1.0. No Rest for the Wicked is like our Lord of the Rings, and to further use that analogy, what we've done so far akin to doing a test screening of the first bits. 1.0 will be our Fellowship of the Ring, and as you know, there is still lots to come after that. So to be clear, we'll be working on No Rest for the Wicked for another 5 to 10 years. This is our magnum opus. We always had lofty ambitions, and we said that we're going to contribute in a huge way to the ARPG genre, and that is our intention. So guys, 10 years. This can be intimidating to some players, but I find that we're in this weird hodgepodge of time where we've just seen like absolutely stellar AAA games release, and the games as a service kind of die down in frustrations. One of those frustrations being it feels like you're constantly just drip-fed content. In this case, I'm not getting that vibe, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well. We can follow that up in another video for their community comments and discussion section as well. But it gets even more interesting, and this could be a little bit, I could see, you know, both concerns that were, or both sides of the argument here. But Thomas tweets out that I was always the person on the team who emphasized that people will want to be able to play Wicked anywhere, anytime, and on any platform, since I knew that people would spend lots of time just gathering resources, farming levels, etc. And then with the real-time multiplayer components, I was sure people would appreciate being able to check in on what's going on in their realms as comfortably as possible. So 2 years ago, we actually made an iPhone build of No Rest for the Wicked, and it was surprisingly great. Since you don't have to move the camera around in Wicked, the touch controls actually worked extremely well, and I was always thought it'd be great specifically for co-op multiplayer, etc. And we would be able to give people ways to quickly check into their realms, see who's around and what's happening since you last left. Obviously, we are also a bit concerned about reenacting Don't You Guys Have Phones? But I think players will be okay with us making a native phone port at some point if it is just completely optional thing that allows everyone to play Wicked, and if they are not in front of their PCs or TVs. So guys, take the temperature of the room. Would you appreciate being able to play Wicked on your phone? Now, I'm not a big phone game guy. In fact, I get approached to have people sponsor videos and for phone mobile apps, and I just keep refusing. It's just not in my wheelhouse or my interest. In fact, there's a little bit of a nauseating aspect to it. So you guys probably can even guess who's approached me, but we're not gonna get into it here. However, I do recognize the vast power that a mobile app is. And when we look at native phones able to run like Resident Evil 8 and things like that, this is a whole new era of gaming. It's not about a device that does one thing. It's honestly just about whatever works for you, the player. And that's where I see the industry shifting and going in the future. And this has caused a lot of drama with the console warriors out there, for example, that no longer are we seeing, games tied to a specific piece of hardware, obviously outside of Nintendo, of which I'm a huge fan and at the same time also frustrated with at the same deeply. So I voted yes. I'd love to know how you guys would vote in this case. Obviously, the counter argument, the concern is that you have to lower the quality of No Rest for the Wicked, the base game, in order to support this additional platform. I think that's a problem solved by money in this regards. And the question would be is that would they sell No Rest for the Wicked on the phone? Like, would it be a game that you actually purchase on the phone? I personally would be all for that. But there are definitely some things and some hurdles and some design decisions that we'd have to consider in this regard. But let's move on, because so much more, so many questions have been answered, and some more notes as well. Lant writes, love the game. When I was setting up stuff to refine, it feels like it's a lot more efficient to have multiple of the same refiners. Is this intentional? I don't really mind it. It kind of reminds me of games like Factorio. I just think it's a little bit strange having a house full of tanning racks. And Thomas writes and replies, I love that they do this, by the way. No, LOL, you'll be able to buy, craft better refineries. This is just a shortcoming right now, and that we couldn't fix in time. The refineries are at the vendors, will be upgrades every time you upgrade a vendor, but the house ones are now just the tier 1 versions. So more of that is coming soon, guys. And that's where I think things really start to get exciting. Now, like I said, I'm not going to go over the full patch notes because most likely from a time perspective, the patch has been out. We've all been kind of playing it, but there's a couple of highlights that I want to give to you. But you can see here the devs continue to turn out these hot fixes, and I don't think it's going to be a long time until we start seeing a lot of the main requested features like keybind remapping coming to the game. In fact, they've already teased that out, and I've covered it in past videos, and I'll be sure to give you guys a rundown. We're going to talk about that in our community discussion too, by the way, because as a software developer myself, I've been people asking, and so I want to kind of get into just how difficult that is and try to, I don't know, just educate people who want to be educated. So hopefully you guys stick around for that. Anyway, the big updates: quests, loot, and content additions. So for quests, they changed the potion seller to reward a medium XP potion to a small XP potion. So bummer if you didn't take advantage of that medium XP potion while it was available. For the loot, they increased the drop rate of gems. I have felt this already over the weekend. I've been getting a lot more gems, and honestly, not complaining. For content additions, they added a new torch offhand for purchase at Whitaker's shop and crafting at the workbench. Torches can be used for more light in the dark areas. And this is where the community starts asking questions about this, because Thomas tweets out, did anyone see the torches we introduced in Hotfit 6? Can you guys, folks, guess what we are going to be doing now that we have torches as offhands? Now, Lauren writes, I would prefer a light that you can equip on your character as a belt where you can fill with some oil, and a vendor offers things like Dragon's Dogma 2 instead of a torch that you have to wear in its offhand. And I don't know why, but HRD is still dark and only playable without HDR. Good, I thought my brain tripped up on me in this case. And he says lanterns and a light rune are actually coming to the game too. Ian says it's hard to see the beneficial that they are with the current maps, but assuming that we are used to very dark areas, will they be bright enough to, for the multiplayer that can be a designated torchbearer and not have anyone needing one, not having everyone need one? Thomas writes, we'll still make changes to the current areas as well, though. You'll soon see some caves appear that weren't any, there were there any before. And did you notice these doors that were locked and inaccessible? Question mark. The entire second half of Nameless Pass also isn't accessible yet either. So lots more teases about that torch. And I do wonder if that means that we're going to start to see these new areas and updates coming sooner rather than later. We know the main update, the major update, is the multiplayer update as a part of the roadmap. But that also makes me think that they're going to be rolling this out either before the main update number 1 or with update number 1. So we'll keep you guys up to date on any developments, terms of that, as well as terms of console. Now, in the community question and answer section, I got 2 questions for you guys that were asked, and I'm going to give you guys my answers, and you guys can let me know yours. Should I buy or wait? And I put out a full video. Is no rest of the wicked worth it? Thank you guys for those who went and watched it. I get into it more than I'm going to get into it here, but I honestly say that it's an absolute must-own game. And that in and of itself is like, if you like ARPGs, if you don't mind that things aren't complete and that it's going to be a process of early access, then yes, now is the right time to buy. You should definitely buy this game. But the question ends up being is that, are you looking for something to kind of consume maybe your summer? Like, that's what this game feels like it's going to do right now. I cannot seem to put it down, and that's actually really, really exciting, very refreshing. So that in and of itself is where I would say, I don't think you're gonna run into, you're not gonna run into game-breaking bugs and issues, which is a real concern with early access. So I think they've delivered a high-quality experience, and if you like giving feedback and being a part of this journey, you're gonna really like being in it now, because what you'll end up seeing is there'll be plenty of gamers out there who will go, man, I wish I did that. I wish I was here at this time. Oh my goodness, the stories that you and I as the community will have at this time will be a part of that. So that's really, I think, a critical component. Now, the final question here is something where Ruin writes, how tough it is to add a GD key binding option. In any case, thanks a lot for this update videos, man. Great help. Heart emoji. Thank you for that question. So how difficult is it? Like, so this is me speaking as a software developer. I am not on the team, So I did not build this engine that they're working in. So obviously my answer is going to be part speculation, but based off of my work in that. In fact, I'm also working on a video game myself right now. We are currently in pre-production, and I keep the members on the channel up to date. So special thank you to all the members. Be sure to be checking out the member-only playlist for the content and more on that aspect. But beyond that, it is actually and can be more time-consuming. And what the conversation is, especially between developers and within gaming, is the terminology. We don't actually agree on what the same words mean. And that's why I don't think of things as difficult or easy in development. Things just take time. So is it difficult from the gamer's perspective, from our perspective, our interacting with the user interface and more? Well, no, it's not. Is it time consuming? Yes. That's where you have to create the interfaces. You have to create the UI. You have to make sure that you're not introducing issues in which that things get remapped. You also want to make sure that the UI gets updated to reflect those same values. And so it's not difficult in the sense of like, oh, we don't know what we're doing. This team clearly does know what they're doing. But it is time consuming, and things just get put on what is called a backlog. So you have a concept called velocity. And that's just how much you and the team can actually work on in a set period. And what a set period is usually referred to is a sprint. And so you have kind of these periods where you do a lot of work, and then you kind of try to evaluate, and you do it in various different phases. So things generally roll out over time. That's one of the things that's so impressive about their hot fixes, is that they're still making more of the game, but they're also supporting us, the players, and bringing out these changes pretty daggum quickly, and it honestly should be commendable. So hopefully that helps give us a little bit of context, because it isn't just like, oh, right click, add this pre-built resource of keybind remapping. No, there's a lot of thought and design that has to go into it, and then you got to do a lot of testing and just implementing it as well as a time consuming aspect. Now, it is less than a week since it's been a week since the game's come out. This week we'll in Thursday we'll see 2 weeks since the game's comes out. I will not be surprised if it comes out this week, and that's honestly my prediction. We will see. But what will happen based off of that prediction, whether I'm right or wrong, it will give me a lot more insight into just the amount of effort that they have to make. Now, again, like I said, this is seemingly something they've been working on. They've already tweeted out, and I covered this previous videos, the UI piece of it. So it could just be something that is now a function of time and testing. And the way the team is going is that, yeah, they want to have this in the game too. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you for everybody who's joined it. If you want to support the channel for free, just hit that like button. You can always double tap that dislike button as well. Sometimes it gets stuck. And for the members, if you guys want to go above and beyond, they got exclusive features and perks and things like that. So thank you so much to my members again. You guys really help support me and the family, and I can't thank you guys enough. And we're going to keep making videos, and I really hope that you continue to enjoy them. Outside of that, guys, you can check the links in the description for some affiliate deals. That's another way of supporting the channel. If you want to pick up a new gaming chair, or you want to learn how to code with boot.dev. They're not sponsoring any video, but I do have a referral code link that actually is really cool if you guys want to check that out. So check out the links, check out the description in the video, and leave a comment, or if you want to get involved in the community, check the top link in the description, which gets you to the Discord and so much more. Anyway, guys, for Ginger Prime, my name is Brian. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I will see you next time, but until then, take care.